Hey Alban, how's it going?
Hi Mauricio, I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good.
Hey Burak.
Hi.
Maybe we can just wait 1 more minute to see if we have more folks joining and then we can get started. Okay, folks, so I think we can get started. Anyway, this is being recorded, so if somebody wants to look at the recording later on, that's possible as well. So I will share the agenda, but yeah, I was trying to look where is the share button here. There we are. Are you able to see my screen? Okay,
Yes.
good. So yeah, maybe we can start. Kasim, you have something about Kubernetes and yeah, Kubernetes volume for OCI store.
Yeah. So I had this issue open, and then the main idea why I was thinking about that was that when I deployed Inspector Gadget and I then was pulling some images and running them, and when I restart the pods, the OCI store is gone because it's not mounted or anything, and then I'll have to pull the images again every time. So I kind of wrote the use case for it, why I think we should have a way to mount the OCA store. But and also like normally the volume can grow because if we don't do that, it takes starting space on the host. But I'm not sure if it's ready to allow the gadgets to be there. But it can be an issue for Docker images because they are huge sizes. For us, it might not be an issue. And so that's why I was thinking why this affects us and why should we have it. And the reason I bring this up is because we have someone who wants to work on it. So we already have, if you go down on the issue, someone wants to, yeah, work on it. So before I confirm that, I was thinking maybe we discuss in the meeting if the use case makes sense, or if anyone has any thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I just have a question on the use case. So in my mind, we will use more gadget. We will not restart the gadget pod that often. So I was wondering if it is really a big problem to have to download the gadgets when it's restarted, or maybe I don't really understand the use case.
Yeah, I agree. I think on each new release, when I deploy Inspector Gadget, my images will be gone. And the other use case I had was that if I, for example, have a persistent volume where I preload some gadgets and then I mount it as read-only, then I can limit the gadgets what a user can run. I don't know if it kind of makes sense at this point, but it's somehow being able to manage the gadgets. I can then even do a host mount from the host itself, and then do a IG pull on the host, and then my mount a specific path. But yeah,
Yeah, so are these volumes then shared between all the gadget ports? Just for understanding it correctly?
Depends on the type of the volume. Like, for example, you can have volumes which are shared, like NFS volumes, but in case of a different, if it's a different kind of a PV, it could be, yeah, for each of the pod, its own volume.
I mean, yeah, in case of read-only, it doesn't matter, but if it's read-write, there could be maybe concurrency problems.
Yeah, but that's something the volume has to take care of, right? So if for example you have an NFS which can take care of this thing, so it's something Kubernetes take care of. We don't have to worry about those problems.
Yeah, I think this is the same case if you are running multiple IG instances on the same host, but somehow you try to build both images from with the same tag on somehow. So there is going to be a race condition there, but the operating system, somehow the file system guarantees that only those is committed before. So yeah, just wanted to say that there is no any difference in the Kubernetes case there.
Now I thought about the OCI library where we download the images. If two gadget instances download the same image, is there any problem? So that's what I'm thinking. Or maybe one gadget, I don't know. Just a thought.
But in any case, this is the same situation if you're trying to run multiple gadgets on the single host. So yeah, maybe there is an issue there. I don't know, but there is no any special about using a Kubernetes volume on this case.
I think it makes sense to make the Helm chart configurable so you can allow the user to write their own volume there. But for the command kubectl deploy, I don't know if we should add yet another flags for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think we can have Helm charts to be more configurable compared to the kubectl deploy.
Yeah, so my opinion is that I think it makes sense when we are updating Inspektor Gadget, we don't want to download the gadget images again. But at the same time, I'm a little bit worried about security considerations because, yeah, in the future, we are thinking about implementing a way to limit the gadgets that a given user can run and so on. So if we are sharing a volume between multiple instances of Inspektor Gadgets, those images are going to be available there. Don't know if this is going to make this limitation of the gadgets that can be run more difficult. So I will say we can implement that, but I'm not sure if we have to enable that by default right now.
Yes, I agree on although we want Inspektor Gadget to work on Kubernetes cluster where we don't have support for external volumes. So I agree we should not do that by default.
Okay, cool. I think it makes sense. Then we kind of keep the default to be not volume, and then in Helm charts, just in the values have a way to specify the volume for it. Good.
Yeah, and in
sounds
the
good.
documentation, we will have to specify this behavior. Okay, so if there are no any more comments there, maybe we can move to the next topic from Alban.
Yes. So I did this because so as part of CNCF, there is a mentorship programs 3 times per year. And Yeah, for the first time, Inspektor Gadget, we submitted a proposal there. So we will see later if it is accepted, and if we find people to work on these issues. Yeah, at this stage, there is not much more to say. We will see if it happens in the next months, because that should start in March.
Good. Thank you, Alban, for that. Yeah, maybe I can add a little bit more. Right now, we suggested 2 different topics for that. One is to support more types of eBPF programs. This for image-based gadgets, I think. And yeah, the second one is also to have a better testing infrastructure for image-based gadgets there. So we have the issues there. Also, this is something that happens 3 times a year, 4 times a year, I don't remember. So if you have one interesting topic that you could think it could be interesting for a mentee, later on, you can start saving that so we can keep this going for the future. In this time, we didn't have a lot of time to prepare that, so we just look for 2 interesting topics, but I'm sure that there are more of them available. Okay. So I have 2 very small topics from myself. Usually, there are very, very small. So the first one is I just want to make you aware that I'm working on this TC support for Inspektor Gadget. TC stands for traffic control. So the idea is that with this PR, we will be able to attach traffic control programs in Inspektor Gadget. It means that we will be able to modify the network packets that are being sent or received by a container or also in the host. So the PR is going well. It is working with IG. But yesterday I was trying to implement testing for Kubernetes, and I found out that this is not working at all in Kubernetes because there we are not using the networking space, but we are not using the host networking space. We are running on a different networking space, and yeah, I'm having some permission issues to install those programs in the interfaces of the host. I'm still investigating what is going on. It's not clear at all for me, so I will ping you later on once I have more information on that. Alban?
I just realized that when you have a VS pair, you have one network interface in the container and one on the host. And I was wondering on which one of the two do you attach?
Yeah, so I'm attaching that on the host one. Yeah, actually, this is something that I also wanted to discuss because I'm not totally sure this is the right place. I think this is better to do that on the host because otherwise, as a user, you are not able to remove that from the container. So if we attach that from the container side, maybe the process running in the container has the privilege to remove that from them. So if later on we want to implement something related to security using this approach, I think it's better to have this on the host. But yeah, I'm happy to take any feedback here if you think this is better to do the other way around.
I think we can play with either because in the end, Inspektor Gadget is not going to replace CNI. It's just a tool that we can use in addition to that. So I guess it can be okay to play with different configurations.
So do you mean to be flexible and allow also the other configuration?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not so sure. I don't know at this point.
Yeah, maybe we can think more about that on the PR. I'm not totally sure because it could be confusing if we attach some of them inside the container, some of them outside the container, especially because in this case, the traffic is like swap. So if you attach the program on ingress on the container, this is egress from the host point of view. So yeah, it could be really confusing. But yeah, we can think about that. As far as I understand, Cilion and all that kind of projects are attaching those programs directly on the host, but maybe we can check it around, see what they are doing.
Yeah, for our scenario, it makes sense to attach on the host because, as you said, we don't want user to, we don't want process in a pod to change the configuration. But in the context of Inspektor Gadget, I don't know, it's not to configure the network, it's can Adobe for debugging purposes. So I guess they could have different use cases.
Yeah, maybe for debugging purposes, it could make sense to have that on the container. But yeah, maybe if you want to add to have that on the container, maybe you want to run IG directly on the container instead of having IG running on the host. But yeah, I'm not sure. So maybe we can discuss this later on this PR. And maybe we can move ahead with this and then we can add support for the other way around. Because I think this is important if later on we want to implement something that does network security based on this. I think in that case, this is important to attach the programs from the host point of view. Any more comments on that one? Okay, and the other topic from me is this. So yeah, how to explain this one? So yeah, basically in some gadgets, we are sending a signal name, signal number, and somehow we have to provide the name of those to have a better output for the user. So there are two different ways to implement this. One is for the gadget developer to implement a small WASM program that does this conversion. And the other is to provide support for this enrichment formatting, let's say, directly on Inspektor Gadget. So in this PR, I was exploring the second option. Actually, let me see. So yeah, the idea is that if you use this special type here, Inspektor Gadget is going to understand that this is a signal, and then it's going to provide an additional column with the name of that signal automatically. So you as a gadget developer doesn't have to worry about writing the WASM program. But yeah, in the PR, there is some discussion, especially from Francis, as he's saying that this is better to do this directly on WASM instead of adding that custom logic to Inspektor Gadget. So yeah, I wanted to know if there are any more opinions on that.
Why Francis said it is better to let each customer do it themselves?
Let me check. Yeah, if I understand correctly, his reason is that he's a very specific use case because just one of the gadgets that we have so far is using this. So why to add this very specific use case inside Inspektor Gadget? If we are going to have WASM that is like a very general purpose logic in user space to accomplish something like that.
I mean, if it were, we were discussing about the difficulty of doing that, it is a lot of work for us. If you already did it, it wasn't that difficult. I don't see the problem of adding it. I mean, I that's pretty much right now something that I like about, for instance, the IP, and these kind of things that you just add one element, one specific element in the eBPF program, and you will get all the enrichment, and it will do it everything for you. At least for me as a developer, I would prefer to have all these kind of options to avoid writing code that probably I will just copy and paste from other gadget that already did it. So if I'm from the project point of view, you are like providing more mechanisms to users to just do it easier to plug and play, as we always say, that it should be as easy as possible to developers to create their own gadgets. That's my opinion.
Okay. Alban?
For me, it's fine too to have it in the core of Inspektor Gadget. So we have the same questions for signals, but although error, the different error codes, one for system calls. And yeah, for me, it's fine to have the three of them implemented in Inspektor Gadget.
Okay, good. So yeah, I will move forward with the PR. Sorry, folks, I'm not too used to this one, so this is not clear for me who wants to speak. Mike, you were going to say something, right?
Yeah, but it's almost the same as we heard before. I also think that we should provide a toolbox, and if it's not hard to maintain for us, then I think it's good to give the user more options. And also, WASM will be much more expensive for things like that, and signals could come in as really many. So if we can save a couple of CPU cycles and not have to maintain a huge amount of code, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And not only from the performance point of view, also from the user experience point of view, I think it will be too annoying to have to use WASM just to make a signal name to a signal number to signal name conversion, if this is something that we can support directly on the framework. So yeah, I think we are aligned on that. So yeah, I will move forward the PR. Probably I will only implement the signal name on this one, but later on we can have different PRs for the syscall name and for errors as well. Okay, folks, so we still have some more minutes. Is there any other topic, any other comment, whatever you want to bring in? Yeah, Jose, go ahead.
Yeah, I was working on a use case that we have about checking when it's TCP reset. I mean, I have a use case anyway. That's not the context. So this is it's not useful here. I just was wondering, is there any way that you know if I have like a function in the kernel that I want to know who is calling that function? There is any kind of tool that provides me such information? I mean, I start thinking, and I was trying to understand who was calling a specific function in the kernel, and is there any tool, eBPF tool, it could be something interesting for you. If there is anything else already doing that, maybe it will be interesting. Yeah, like the stack, Alban, that's what I mentioned, like the stack that how we arrive to that function. Something like that tell you, okay, I want to know this specific function, how we arrive in the kernel stack to arrive to that function. That function could be something interesting, you think? And maybe in the image-based gadget, we could do everything. We could just say the name of the function and we could do the rest. I don't know. I was just wondering, in general, the use case, what do you think about? You all think about the use case? It could be interesting. There is something else already doing something like that.
Yes, about the eBPF map of type stack, I think we have gadgets, built-in gadgets that use them already, like the top CPU. But I don't think we have any image-based gadget that use that. So that will be interesting to try and see if it just works or if we have something else to implement. I think there is probably things to do in for image-based gadget to make it work.
Yeah, I checked the CPU one, but I'm not sure. Is it like tracing every single function? Because I didn't get everything in the. I mean, some of the functions that were called. Is it just trace system calls or no? Not system calls.
Now the profile CPU is not attached to any specific function. It's just a eBPF program that runs at a specific frequency, like 100 Hertz. And then whenever it runs, it looks at the stack at that point. But in your case, that's not what you will do. You will still attach to a specific function, but you could still use the eBPF map of type stack to get the stack at that point.
Yeah. I looked for it and I found that that's the way to do it. Use this stack eBPF type map. And yeah, that's not in the CPU, the profile CPU. I would not get all the. I could miss the calls from the function I want to trace. Mauro, you
Yes.
have something there?
I just mentioned the profile CPU gadget because there is an example of using the stack map, but not because we have to reuse other things.
Yeah, I have different comments about that. So for image-based gadgets, I think it could be useful and probably something that we will have to support later on because there are so many different cases that require this type of map that Alban was mentioning before. But for the specific use case that you have right now, I think you can use BPF trace. They have this K stack. And yeah, I see that this is counting, but probably this is also possible to use that without counting. So maybe this is what you are looking for. Because if I understand, the thing that you need is to understand how do you write to a specific function? What is the stack there? And it doesn't have to be integrated with Inspektor Gadget because this is something that you are investigating for building this gadget. So yeah, I think you can use BPF trace for that.
Okay, good. So, okay, thank you. I will check. We'll check.
Yeah, let me put this on the chat. Okay, there we go. Okay, thank folks, you're welcome. And yeah, for sure, we can later on understand if we want to support this kind of map also on Inspektor Gadget. I think it's very interesting, and there are a few cases where this will be useful. There is one gadget, I don't remember which one of the tracers where we are using this to understand what is the function called. Yeah, what is the workflow of the calls when a specific event happened? I think it was signal trace signal, something else. One of them, I'm not sure. But yeah, maybe we can check it out and see if we are able to implement that there. Okay, folks. Any other?
I had another. Sorry, I had another gadget, image-based gadget called a Signal Go gadget that I was using. On this one, get the stack from a Go program, but there's something quite different that doesn't use the stack map. Yeah, sorry, I just mentioned it. That's all.
Okay, so this is from the Golang part, not from the kernel one. Nice. Okay, folks, so I think we are almost on time. So yeah, I think this is all. Thank you so much for joining this meeting and see you around. Bye-bye.
Bye, see you.
See you.
Ini my